April 22nd, Saturday. The absolute goal of the church. Acts chapter 27, verses 23 through 24. For this very night there stood before me an angel of the God, to whom I belong, and whom I worship. And he said, Do not be afraid, Paul. You must stand before Caesar. And behold, God has granted you all, those who sail with you. After Paul was unfairly taken as prisoner, he boarded a ship to Rome for his trial and encountered a storm on his journey there. Although every passenger on the ship fell into despair, Paul did not. This is because he possessed the correct spiritual eyes when viewing the storm. As we who are children of God live our lives, we inevitably face difficulties that are like a storm. At that moment, similar to Paul, we must hold on to the spiritual answer and reason as to why the world falls into despair. This is God's absolute goal that He has given to the church and its children. Then what is the spiritual answer that we must know? Number 1, inevitable disasters. There's a reason why unbelievers inevitably face disasters. It is because of the fundamental sin of being separated from God and living a life entrapped and centered on myself, materialistic goods, and success. As a result, they are unable to escape from being confined by the frame of Acts 13, 16, 19, and have fallen into the snare of the 6 states of the unbeliever. We who possess the gospel have been given the knowledge to God's purpose, and therefore must save people that are in the midst of disasters. Number 2, unsolvable disasters. Nothing could solve the problem of the storm, not the wealth of the ship owner, the powerful centurions, nor the opinion of all the passengers aboard the ship. They even discarded all the cargo on the ship and exhausted every method. Yet it was impossible to prevent disasters through science or mankind's efforts. This is the case for those who are separated from God and face spiritual disasters. We who possess the spiritual answers must relay the truth that the problem of disasters cannot be solved by mankind's efforts. Number 3, only God can solve the problem of disasters. Only God can solve the problem of spiritual disasters. When Paul shared God's word that he received to the passengers aboard the ship, the problems began to be resolved. Those that reside within God's time schedule will receive God's power and grace. This is because the gospel must be proclaimed through the churches. Moreover, this is the reason why God will use those who possess the gospel to save lives and solve disasters. Per the evangelist, God, many people have fallen into disasters and the storm. Allow me not to fall into despair amid confusion, but be filled with the gospel that is the unique answer to save the world.